What's going on, y'all? It's 2KJ. Welcome to the channel. Man, that feels good to say. I'm not gonna lie, man. I've been pushing back doing this YouTube thing for months, years even, just because it's such a big time investment. But I figured, you know what? There is no time like the present. So we're gonna give this YouTube thing a go. And if we're gonna do that, you best believe we're gonna get it started with the banger, man. That's exactly what we have today. This is a complete rebrand of all 30 NBA teams. That means new logos, new cities, new stadiums, new jerseys, new all of that for all 30 squads. And when I tell you guys, it took me forever to put together. Ooh, bars. This took me so long, man. This took me weeks, probably a little over a month total. I'll get into my trials and tribulations later, but we don't need to do that right now, man. Just know that this took me so long, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could leave a like and subscribe as we try to get this channel off its feet. But that's enough plugging away. Let me go ahead and give you guys some insight as to what we got going on here. So this is episode 1 of what will be an ongoing series on this channel. And the first episode here is just a look at the design process. You guys get to see all 30 teams and just what the logos, the jerseys, the stadiums are looking like, all that fun stuff. Then the second episode is going to be our fantasy draft. So I'll pick one of these teams to become their GM, which I'll do in that episode, and then we'll have our fantasy draft. But it's not just any draft, guys. I'm only going to have 60 seconds on the clock for each pick. So normally I would be able to think for like 5-10 minutes and then just edit that part out later on, but we're not going to be doing that. There's going to be a countdown clock on the screen for each pick, as I'll only have 60 seconds to try to construct my team. So that should be really fun as well. And then the remaining episodes are just going to be season gameplay. So it's going to be a 29 game season with single game elimination in the playoffs. Now the reason for that is that I want to knock out multiple seasons of this thing. So I'm talking 3, 4, 5 seasons. And I don't think I'm going to be able to do that if I do the full 82 game slate with best out of 7 in the playoffs plus the play-in. I just think it's going to be really easy for me to lose interest over time and for you guys to lose interest as well. So with 29 games in the regular season, you guys still get to see us play every team once. And then it's kind of like March Madness in the playoffs, where it's win or go home, a lot on the line for every game. So that should be really fun because anything can happen at that point. So that is our setup for this, man. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get this started. In Alaska, guys, we have the Alaska Explorers. Now this one is called the Unknown. There's going to be a nickname for every stadium, and this one makes sense. I've never been to Alaska before, but I'm assuming there's a lot of unknown parts there. Now there's not going to be a whole lot to talk about when it comes to these stadiums, so it's mostly the jerseys I'm sure you guys want to see. So we'll breeze past the stadiums mostly, but the jerseys are where it's at. Now this one is a clean, simple white jersey with just a cool pattern there on the side, that navy blue, and then the green, as we'll also see on the lining. And then a really nice detail on the chest there is that North Star that's going to be on the home and away jersey. And speaking of the away jersey, this one is nice, man. This is kind of meant to look like the Northern Lights, so we've got that blue to green gradient, and then just a lot of yellow throughout, just some touches there, including that North Star. Of course, gotta have that there. Now I will say Devin Booker is modeling these. I guess it's just because he's the cover athlete this year, and because no teams have had players yet in this, because we haven't had our draft yet, he's kind of just representing everybody in this instance. So I mean, I'm not mad at it. Kind of helps he's a pretty good looking guy, I'm not gonna lie.
What?
But yeah, Devin Booker is gonna be our model for all of these, just for those who are wondering. Now let's go ahead and move on to our second team in the Northwest Division. We're going to Hawaii. That's right, guys, where we have the Hawaii Honu. Now this one is called the Island, and I really like the cord here. It's that honeycomb pattern that you see the Charlotte Hornets have. However, in this instance, it's meant to kind of just look like the shells on the turtle, and then just that tealish blue all the way throughout with just some hints of cream. Now I know that this mascot is not the most intimidating, but I don't think every mascot has to be, you know, as long as it kind of fits the vibe of the area, which in Hawaii is the most welcoming area I can think of, you know, very inviting, very kind. So that's kind of what is reflected here. Now on the home jerseys, we have what's meant to look like a floral pattern all the way throughout, just using the best resources that we have from 2K here. So that blue all the way throughout, and then some hints of seafoam green and that cream as well. Now on the road, same pattern, but it's that teal all the way throughout with the navy blue and cream. Again, very warm and inviting, not intimidating at all, but I think this is one of those sleeper designs that a lot of people are going to like. They might not pick it as their favorite, but I think everybody can respect what we had going on there. So moving on to the next one, this is the Vancouver Huskies. And when I look at this, I just immediately think of that throwback Minnesota Timberwolves era when Kevin Garnett was on the team. The logo looks very similar to it, so there's a lot of inspiration from that branding in that era here. As you guys can see, this one is meant to look like a forest, and it is called the Mountain, or nicknamed the Mountain I should say, black and green all the way throughout. And then a look at the jerseys where that inspiration definitely continues. This one has a similar lining that you remember from those Timberwolves era, that really cool tree lining on the neck, the shoulder, and the waist. We weren't able to replicate that here, but we still have the black and green color blocking. And then the statement piece is that mountain range on the shorts that does wrap all the way around it. I didn't want to just rip off the Timberwolves there from that era, so we have our own nice little touch there. And then it is still prominent on the road jerseys, where it's meant to look kind of just like a night sky. You got that gradient there from black to gray on the shorts, so that way the mountain range is still prominent. Now let's go ahead and move on to our next team, our second to last team in the Northwest Division, and this one is the Sin City Hyenas. That's right, there's been a lot of talk about getting some basketball in Las Vegas, and we have that here, but it's not called Las Vegas. This one is Sin City, because things get pretty wild in Las Vegas. Not that I know anything about that, but that's also why this place is nicknamed The Wild. Makes sense. Black and red all the way throughout, and definitely the opposite of the Hawaii Honu. This one is meant to be very aggressive, as you guys can see from the logo, so I tried to reflect that here with the black and red. And then this really cool, I guess, static pinstripe, is that what you call it? I'm not too sure, but it takes inspiration from that throwback Toronto Raptors era with Vince Carter, all of that. So home threads, very nice and clean. And then the road jersey is the statement piece, which is probably going to be an ongoing theme because there are no alternate jerseys for these teams, so the road jersey kind of has to step up and pick up the slack there. So this one is gray and black all the way throughout, kind of patchy, meant to resemble the pattern of the fur on the hyenas that you guys can see there. And then of course just that black and red all the way throughout with the white lettering and numbers. Now let's go ahead and move on to our last team in the Northwest Division, and this one I'm really excited about, guys. Seattle basketball is back, but it is not the Supersonics, it is the Seattle Sea Lions. Still, either way, really exciting, because I think a lot of people would agree they want to see basketball back in Seattle. It is a basketball town for sure, a basketball city, and this one is nicknamed the Port. Makes sense with the Sea Lions, and it is the same colors as the Seattle Seahawks, so pretty cool to get that symmetry there with their football brothers down the road. I really like that gray along the sides here for the letters. Just really kind of softens things up, and I think that came out really nice. Now a look at the home jerseys. This one is clean white but with the waves on the side, and then Sea Lions of course across the chest. On the road we have that whirlpool pattern, so you see the spirals with the different shades of blue, and then that green, that seafoam green all the way around there to really pop off. So that is going to do it for the Northwest Division. Let's go ahead and move on to, I guess we'll go left to right here with the Atlantic Division, and we're going to be starting off with the Buffalo Blizzard. Now this one, when I hear Blizzard, I just think snowstorm. So white in the seating, white on the court, and then just hints of blue all the way throughout. This one is called the Freezing Point. Now a look at the jerseys, we keep that cold icy theme where we've got kind of, I guess, the ice crystals is what I was going for with this pattern. Again, just using the best that we have on 2K here, and then just the blue and white lining all the way throughout. And then on the road we have the black ice jerseys, one of my favorite individual jerseys in the league. I just think it's a really cool concept where we have that black to, I guess you could say it's white, but it's really a very, very, very light blue. Just meant to be kind of like that icy light blue gradient. So really happy with the way that that one came out. Devin Booker's looking good in that one. So
what?
Let's go ahead and move on to the Minnesota Foresters, guys. Now some of the cities that actually have real NBA teams did retain their teams here, and there's not a great explanation for it. I guess just the reasoning is that I tried to make sure that all the teams fit when it came to the map. You know, I didn't want to just have a bunch of teams on the West Coast and then only a few on the East Coast. I try to make everything make sense geographically, And when I found this logo for the Foresters, I needed a team in this division, in this part of the US, and Minnesota Foresters just made the most sense. So that's why we kept it in Minnesota. So that's pretty much the reasoning for it. There are a few cities that did retain their teams, as you guys will see later on. But not really a big deal, because as long as it's all completely rebranded, it still, fits the bill for what we have going on here. So this one is called the Forest, and it's exactly what it sounds like, meant to look like a forest with that herringbone pattern. Even you guys can see the paint there, and the free throw line is meant to look like a tree. We've got that green and brown there, so meant to look like that as best as it can. And now let's go ahead and take a look at the jerseys here, where the shorts, one of my favorite shorts in the league for sure. If this was a real pair of shorts, I definitely would consider copping it, because I really like the layering here as it goes from dark green to light green. Add some depth to it, and then just kept it simple up top, as we do for most of the home jerseys. And then a look at the road jerseys, definitely being a little bit more out there. We've got that tree camo, so that black and green, even the numbers and lettering are all green, all the way down to the Nike swoosh. And then just a few hints of maroon there to tie it into the logo, because the Lumberjack does have the maroon there. I guess Forester you could call them. But let's go ahead and move on to our next team in this division, and we have the Pittsburgh Phantoms. Now this one is meant to look very ominous, very spooky. Ooh, I'm so embarrassed that I just did that. But yeah, the Pittsburgh Phantoms, man, this one is called the Shadows. Really fits the vibe that we got going on here. We wanted it to be very dark and mysterious, and as you can see, we've got the black and purple with just the hints of gray throughout. And then taking a look at the jerseys, really like the home jerseys for this one. Most home jerseys are white, as you guys will see. Let's go through this league here, but wanted to make this one gray. I just didn't think it felt right to have white jerseys for the Pittsburgh Phantoms. Still wanted it to be somewhat dark, so just the hints of black and purple all the way throughout, and that really cool logo on the chest. And then this one is the all black and purple static pinstripe with the gray lettering and numbers. So let's go ahead and move on to our next team here. We have two more in this division, and we're going to get it going with the Paris Reign. That's right, guys. We have basketball in Paris. Now, I want to say this isn't technically in Paris, and I'll go ahead and explain to you guys why here as you take a look at this map. Paris is not an option for where you can relocate the teams, so it's technically in Montreal, but for all intents and purposes, this is in Paris, guys. So let's go ahead and take a look at the court here. This one is called the Kingdom, and it is just black and red with the hints of gold all the way throughout. Really like how that one came out. And then a look at the jerseys, we have very simple on the home threads, except for right here on the shorts. Really like that we have the Eiffel Tower there. That kind of took inspiration from the Golden State Warriors jerseys, where on their shorts they have the Golden Gate Bridge. This one is the Eiffel Tower, and then just the black and red lining all the way throughout. Now a look at the road jerseys. The black and red is more prominent here, but we still have the Eiffel Tower on the shorts. And I don't know what exactly this pattern is, but when I saw it, I just thought that it fit the vibe of it, kind of looked very royal. It might be something related to that. I'm not sure. You guys can let me know in the comment section, but just thought it looked cooler to have it as that all over print, where we still have the black and gold on the letters and numbers, which I think is also very nice. So let's go ahead and move on to our last team of this division, the 10th team that we have shown here, and that is going to be our Providence Steamrollers. Now this one is not for the youths, I would say. This one is meant to be a little more old school, blue collar is what I think about when I think Providence Steamrollers. So definitely not the flashiest, but this one is called the Site, kind of like the work site. And then the jerseys is what I was talking about here, old school pinstripe, no staticky, nothing like that, just classic pinstripe with the cream, black, and red. And then on the road jerseys, we have the red base with the black and gold lining. So that is the Providence Steamrollers, and that is going to do it for that division. Let's go ahead and move on to our second row here, the Pacific Division, where we have the Albuquerque Chupacabras. Now that one is a really fun one to say. This one is nicknamed the Pit, and the reasoning for that, I actually did used to live in New Mexico for a while, not Albuquerque, actually Las Cruces, but the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque has a court there called the Pit, and it's very iconic. very historic, especially to that area. So it felt wrong, especially having lived in the state, to change the name of it. And I guess it kind of fits with the Chupacabras. I mean, if I had to guess where Chupacabra lives, I would think a pit probably. So makes sense, as we've got that teal and orange all the way throughout with just a little bit of navy on the lettering. Let's go ahead and take a look at the jerseys, man. The home threads white with that really cool orange pattern on the sides, similar to that Miami Dolphins colorway. And then we still have that here, just reversed essentially on the road jerseys with the teal and then the orange pattern. Really like the way this one came out. I'm a little biased again because I used to live in New Mexico. Let's go ahead and move on to our next team. We got the Tucson Coyotes. So Phoenix is no longer the team to represent basketball in Arizona. It is Tucson, and this court is called the Desert. It's exactly what it's called. It is a desert, essentially, you know, from the seating to the court. Everything is just that sandy desert type of color, except for underneath the rims here, which I think is really cool. We've got that green, kind of meant to just look like a cactus, is kind of what I was going for there. And then that logo at half court, I really like that logo. That's one of my favorite ones in the league for sure. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the jerseys, the home threads. Jeez, these are nice. The logo, of course, across the chest, and then back with the mountain range shorts all the way throughout. Really clean jersey here. I would definitely consider copping both the jersey and the shorts, honestly. And then on the row, come on now, talk to me, but talk to me nice. We've got the star jersey all the way around. We've got some stars, and that's right, it's not just little dots. You guys can see we have some stars there, and I think it looks really sick, especially with the black and gold lining. So Tucson Coyotes, man, without a doubt, a team that I would consider taking over. Add it to the list. And then next up, we got the San Diego Crabs. That's right, guys, we got crabs. What? And as you can see from the court, this one is called the Coves. Makes sense with the crabs here, that light blue and red all the way throughout, and then just a little bit of that sandy type of color there that you see on the logo. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the jerseys, where we have more of the crabs here. This time it is on the sides. A nice touch there, because everything else is pretty simple and clean. Just says San Diego across the chest. And then on the road, very similar, just a navy version of it. Again, with those crabs there, gotta have the crabs. So moving on to our next team, guys. This one is going to be the San Jose Lasers, and this one is a bit out there. This is the only court that is black. It's not just the actual hardwood color. And when I look at the logo, man, I think like off the grid, the glitch type of thing, which is why it's nicknamed here the glitch. And so it is a black court with just green lining all the way around, and the jerseys kind of follow that same vibe here. This is a black jersey with that I guess coating is what you call it, all the way throughout. And then on the road, we have kind of the more tame version, a very rare example where the away jersey is the more tame version. This one, I guess, is just meant to kind of look like Lasers as best as it can from what we have on 2K. Not my best jersey, but I think that this one on that court is really going to make up for it, to where this is still a very cool design. So let's go to move on to our next team here. I believe this is our last team in this division. Yep, we have the LA Mambas, man, the Los Angeles Mambas. And this one needs very little explanation. The legacy, RIP Kobe, man. I wanted to keep a team in Los Angeles, and it just felt right to have it called the Mambas, the Black Mambas, obviously what Kobe was known as. That honeycomb pattern is back here on the stadium, although in this case it's meant to just look like snakeskin, and then keeping that snakeskin vibe on the home jerseys here, where I really like that logo across the chest where it kind of looks like fangs on the M and the A. Really think that's nice, and we kind of have like a sandy tan snakeskin type of print. And then on the road, that black and gold, I just think it looks really nice. And then I kind of forgot to mention it on the stadium, but as you guys can see there, we have a nice little logo on the chest, the KB logo, Kobe Bryant. So really happy with the way this one came out, and without a doubt a team that I'm considering taking over, because again, RIP Kobe, man, one of the best to ever do it. Really happy that we were able to get this in the league. Now let's go ahead and move on to the Central Division, where we have the Detroit Dragons. So basketball is still in Detroit, but it's not the Pistons, it is the Dragons, and this one is called the Layer, black and red. very aggressive, kind of similar to the Sin City Hyenas. I mean, that dragon might be the most aggressive logo that we have. There's definitely some other contenders, but a look at the jerseys, very clean white jerseys. I probably say that a lot. And then instead of on the sea lions where it's used as waves, this one is meant to just look like fire all the way throughout with the black and red trim. And then on the road, man, I really like these jerseys. We have that black to red gradient, red lettering, red lining on the numbers, and it's still the flames there. Just think this is a really fire design. No? Okay, yeah, it's pretty bad. Man, I really don't want to be one of those YouTubers that's extremely cringy. I'm kind of setting the tone here since this is my first episode, so I need to watch that. But anyways, we're moving on to the Kansas City Knights, taking a look at their court. This court is really nice, man. Really happy with the way this one came out. This one is called the Castle because the kingdom is already taken up by the Paris Reign, but still definitely fits with the whole Knights type of vibe. Really like the way this one came out with the black and blue all the way throughout. I just think it's a cool logo, cool design. And then I really like the design on the home threads here. Very simple, but we have that nice cross sword pattern on the shorts, and then that black and blue all the way throughout. Now on the road, kind of very similar to it, honestly. It's just the gray version of it where we have that cross sword pattern again on the shorts. That's definitely a pair of shorts that I would consider copying. But let's go ahead and move on to our next team here. Our third team in this division is going to be the Omaha Mammoths. Now I think this is an old AFL logo. Not sure why Mammoths Omaha, don't know the fit there, but it's an actual thing. So yeah, very, very cool mascot. This one is called the Tundra, as we've got the navy and orange all the way throughout. Let's go ahead and take a look at the jerseys, where we have a really nice feature here, really nice detail is the mammoth tusks there around the neck. Definitely the statement, and I didn't really want to do a whole lot else with it, especially because it's Omaha. It's not the flashiest place, so I just think that tusk necklace type of thing around the neck speaks for itself, and everything else can kind of just be very simple. So navy and orange all the way throughout, and then on the road is just kind of a reverse version. We have orange as the base with the navy lining, and then of course those tusks still very prominent on the neck. So let's go ahead and keep it rolling here with our next team, as we have the Virginia Beach Tridents. So this one is going to be called the Beach, and it's just meant to look very faded all the way throughout. So faded yellow, faded blue. Yeah, just a very cool design, I think, in my opinion. And then taking a look at the jerseys, simple with the Virginia Beach across the chest, but the shorts there, the statement piece, as most of these are. We've got the tridents there coming up from the sides, and then just that blue and yellow all the way throughout. On the road, we have a very similar version here. It is just blue with the yellow lining, and then of course the trident's still there. So let's go ahead and keep it going with our last team in this division, man. And this one is going to be the Cincinnati Warriors. You guys notice how I kind of have to extend my words there as 2K is loading, trying to do that as best as I can. But this one is called the Coliseum. And I know that's not how we normally spell Coliseum, but that's actually how the real Coliseum is spelled. So Cincinnati Warriors, black, and then that tealish green with the yellow on the free throw line. Let's go ahead and take a look at the jerseys, where we keep that logo across the chest, and then it's just very simple. I gotta stop saying that, man. For those at home who want to do a drinking game, keep track of every time I say very simple. There's probably a lot of things that I'm repeating a lot, but I think a really cool design here on the back is that spear going across the number there, and then a look at the road threads, that black with the teal and yellow, and then still the spears there. Again, a very cool design. I really like that added detail. So that's going to do it for the Central Division. We have 10 more teams to go as we keep this rolling here. I don't want this video to be too long, but it probably will be. So apologies for that. But we got the Houston Apollos, very similar branding and vibe to the Houston Rockets, the Houston Astros. This one is called the Apollos, and the court is called the Command Center. We have that navy blue and orange, very clean. There you go, take another shot. And then going to the uniform now, we have our astronaut vibe. So the reason why it's called the astronaut is on the back here. Now, I really like this. Some people might not. They might say it's corny, a little childish, which it very well could be, but I think it's really cool to have the jetpack on the back. Really fits in with the astronaut vibe, or else without it, you wouldn't even really know it's like an astronaut thing. So we've got that there. And then on the jersey, we have that all over galaxy print, which I really like. And I didn't want to do a whole lot with the lining because it's already a lot with the pattern here. So just very nice navy and white on the neck and shoulder. So that is the Houston Apollos. Without a doubt, a contender for a team that I'm going to want to possibly take over here, which we'll see in the second episode. So quick reminder here, I think YouTubers are supposed to do this. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you guys are enjoying this so far. So got to get that out the way a few times here, guys. So next up, we got the Austin Bats, and this one is called the Bridge, which for those who aren't familiar with Austin, there's a bridge there in the area that's very famous for having a lot of bats. I did used to live in Austin. I actually graduated from the University of Texas in Austin, so go Longhorns. And yeah, this one obviously hits a little closer to home for me, so really wanted to go all out on this design, and I think I did. I really like that we have the mismatched colors on the sideline, where one of them is purple, the other is lime green, and then we have that on the baseline as well, where Austin is in green and then Bats is in purple. So let's go ahead and keep it going with the jerseys. Now this one is really nice. It is a white to gray gradient, and then we have the bats coming up along the side from the shorts all the way to the jersey, and just that lime green, electric green, whatever you want to call it, and then that really deep purple as well. Now on the road, we have our all purple uni with the electric green, and then of course the bats still very prominent there. Now let's go ahead and keep it rolling here with our next team. That is another thing that I say a lot. Let's go ahead and keep it rolling. I got some time to kill, man, because 2K takes a while to load up. But we got the New Orleans Crawfish. Now I gotta say, I kind of want to change this to Crawdads. Let me know what you guys think. Is that a little too stereotypical that people from New Orleans say Crawdads? I know it's a thing, but I don't know. You guys can let me know if you think I should change it from the Crawfish to the Crawdads. But let's go ahead and take a look at the court. This one is called the Bayou, and it's a very similar vibe to the old New Orleans Hornets, where we have that blue and gold. So cool to kind of bring that throwback type of colorway back here to New Orleans. Now let's take a look at the jerseys, and we have the star Crawfish logo thing on the shorts. Another pair of shorts I would consider buying, and everything else is pretty tame. Now on the road, we have that light blue all the way throughout. Really like that color. You don't see it too much in sports nowadays. There's obviously some examples of it, UCLA in college for one, but you don't see that too often now. So I really like that with the gold on the lining from the shoulders to the neck to the waist. So moving on to our next team. I believe this is the last team in this division. No, we got two more actually. The San Antonio Roadrunners are up next, and actually I lived in San Antonio for a while, so again, just kind of giving out some details about me. But yeah, this one definitely hits very close to home, so wanted to have a very nice design here. It's not the most exciting design, but I don't think San Antonio is necessarily the flashiest area, so kind of fits with the vibe of it. This one is called the Brush, and I guess that's kind of where Roadrunners tend to make homes and lives. I had to kind of look it up. I was looking for something to call this place and wasn't too sure, but yeah, the black and orange all the way throughout. And then on the jerseys, the home threads, we have kind of that I guess like if you're kind of sprinting, you see those little marks on like cartoons and stuff. Since it's Roadrunners, I wanted to add that right next to the number, which is already kind of slanting as well to make it look like it's running forward. Just a very subtle design, but I think something that came out really nice. And then on the back, we have another cool detail, the tumbleweed on the back underneath the number there. So not a whole lot going on with this jersey as we move on to the road threads, where it's meant to look like the same pattern of a Roadrunner. For those who look it up, I had to look it up. I really didn't fully know what one looked like. I've seen a few before, but had to look it up, and it's kind of like that I guess almost like a little diamond pattern going down it. So that's what we tried to replicate as best as we could. I'm saying we like it wasn't just only me who did this, but that's what I tried to replicate as best as I could. for the road jerseys, and then just that orange all the way throughout with the black lining. I think a very cool color combination for sure. So going on to our last team in this division, and it is the Nashville Sounds. Now this one is called The Stage. Just makes sense with all that music and jazz, or I guess country in this instance. But yeah, black and red all the way throughout. Taking a look at the jerseys, I really like this logo, so I kept it across the chest. And then on the shorts, we have the musical notes, which I think is really nice there. And then on the road, we have basically a red version of it. Didn't really like the idea of having the red because the letters on Sounds are also red, but it's a kind of different shade, and I really like that logo, so I didn't want to replace it. So that's kind of what we went with this one. Again, still the musical notes there, and then that black and red trimming. Now going on to our last division, guys, here 25 teams down, 5 more to go. Let's get it started here with the Miami Flamingos. This one is called The Pond, and it is a lot of pink, man. I kind of just embraced it at this point with this design. It's not meant to look aggressive. It is the Flamingos and they are pink, so there is a lot of pink here, guys. So you're either gonna like this one or you're not. But a look at the jersey, this one is just very simple with the white and then the pink trimming, and then on the road more of that pink, but I think in a really cool black to pink gradient. Kind of gives it a little bit more of an edge that you normally would see here. And then just a little bit of yellow as well on the Nike swoosh. We just wanted to, kind of change things up, or else it's just only black and pink. So that's a nice little touch there. Now, moving on to our next team here. We've got 4 more to go, guys. And this one is called the Carolina Reapers, as we go ahead and pull it up here. And this is the Final Destination is the nickname of this court. Meant to be very intimidating and ominous, as we've got the gray all the way throughout with the black and blue. Taking a look at the jerseys, the home threads are black in this instance because when I think the Grim Reaper, I just think that it's that black cloak that it wears. So we've got that here, and then I really like the numbers here where we've got that kind of shadow, that gray shadow. Try to make it look like a scythe as best as I could. Again, just working with whatever we have here on 2K as the options. Then on the road, it is a blue version with a very subtle gradient. As we go down to the shorts, it's meant to look a little bit darker. You probably can't even notice it much, but yeah, didn't want any words on the front. I just want you to see that logo there, man. When you see that, the Grim Reaper there, I just think it really speaks for itself. And forgot to point it out, but Carolina Reapers, really like that name in general, because obviously there's a very hot pepper there called the Carolina, the Reaper pepper. So to have it be the Carolina Reapers with the Grim Reaper, I think is really cool. So going on to our next team here, 3 more to go. As I'm counting this down, we've got the Jacksonville Sharks, and this court is called the Deep. Now black and red all the way throughout, as a lot of these colorways are. There's probably a lot of black and reds here, but yeah, try to mix it up just very subtly with each one of them so the courts aren't the same. So different fonts on the baseline, and then this one, the free throw is black with the paint being red. So going on to the jerseys for the Jacksonville Sharks, that logo across the chest, we've got the gills on the side and then the shark fins on the bottom. So a lot going on here on the sides, but really like this one. And then on the road, man, this is one of my favorite jerseys, maybe a top 5 one. Still got the gills on the side and the fins at the bottom, but we've got that blood in the water type of theme is what we're going on with. It gets so dark once you get so deep that it's just black, and then we still got that red there to allow the shark fins to still pop off. Now going on to our next team here, if we can get 2K to load, you're almost there, man. You're almost there. We got the Tampa Bay Titans. Now a very powerful name, and this one is called Tartarus, which is kind of like the hell-like prison the Titans were contained or banished to. I did take a Greek mythology class in college and got a B-, so pretty much an expert on this kind of stuff. So the Tampa Bay Titans, black and gold all the way throughout, and then a look at their jerseys. Not a whole lot going on with them, but a very subtle thing here, as you guys can see. We've got that pattern all the way throughout, kind of, I guess, meant to look like just like a globe, like just a map, but just an all white. Not a very big detail that people will notice, but I think it's just a nice touch. so it's not just a white jersey. And then on the road, we do just have a basic black one. Didn't want to go all out. When I think Titans, I just think overpowered, powerful. I didn't want it to be too flashy. I just think the name speaks for itself. So the jerseys are very classic and simple, as we got that one there. Now let's go ahead and move on to our last team, team 30 out of 30. Again, guys, this took me so long to set up. So excited to have this thing all wrapped up. And we got the Washington Warhawks. There is still basketball in Washington. However, it's called the Warhawks instead of the Wizards. And this one is the Nest. And a really nice design here is I tried to make the free throw circle look like the eyes of the Warhawk. So really like how that came out. And then taking a look at the jerseys, we have that pattern. In this case, it's meant to look like feathers. We've used it a few times. I think the Mambas had it as snake skin. The Blizzard has it as like ice crystals. This time it's meant to look like feathers. Again, guys, there's not a whole lot of options in 2K, and definitely not many new ones. It's kind of been the same for the past few years. So did the best that I could with what I had here, but just a blue all the way throughout with the black and red, and then white on the letters and numbers. And then on the road, we have the black version with that blue trim and just a little bit of red as well, guys. So that is all 30 teams. Man, this took me so long. Let me go ahead and give just a quick little rant here for the trials and tribulations. So essentially, when you go and create a new league, you're going through all the options. How many games do I want the regular season to be? Do I want it to start in the regular season, off season, all that stuff? One of those options is this customized league thing, which you guys see here. That's why it says customized league up top. So that's where I'm at right now, where I'm able to pick a team and then edit them. So this team used to be the Miami Heat. I edited them, fully changed them to the Miami Flamingos. Now, there is no save option in this because the league hasn't actually been created yet. So because of that, I have to just put my PlayStation on rest mode whenever I take a break doing this, which it does take a long time. Each 10 of them, like let's say this top row, probably took about maybe 3 hours to get it all set up, something like that. And so obviously I'm not going to do that all in one day. So there's a lot of sittings. And in that case, I have to leave it on rest mode and just hope that my PlayStation doesn't crash or 2K needs an update and it kicks me out, which is why it says update required there in the bottom left corner. You guys have probably noticed that. I should have acknowledged that, but that's because this PlayStation has been running at least on rest mode for the past, I don't know, few weeks as I get this thing set up, because it continues to crash and kick me out. So this is like the 5th or 6th time that I've actually had to redo this whole thing, which it just takes so long, man. But really excited with the way that it came out. That's enough complaining for me, but just letting you guys know kind of the process behind this. So again, if you guys could leave a like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. But that is going to do it for this episode, guys. I really appreciate y'all watching, especially the ones who watch this entire video, because again, I know it's probably going to be like 40 minutes. So if you watch all of this, thank you so much. And even if you just watched a little bit, I really do appreciate it, guys. Like I said, I'm trying to get this channel off its feet, so I hope you all will stay tuned for the next episode of this series and just everything to come for this channel, because it won't just be this series. There'll be rebuilds, there'll be a bunch of different stuff that we'll have here. So hope you guys stick around for that. But that is going to do it for me today. This is 2KJ. Blessings.